Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is Jacob, and I am joined by my lovely co-host this week, Ethan. Ethan, how are you feeling today?
It is another day in paradise, ladies and gentlemen. I am so glad to be talking about St. Louis City once again. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It was a great game to watch and a fun one to recap. Real quick, though, for our visual consumers, as you can see, we are short-staffed this week. Grayson is on a much-needed vacation, hanging out with the boys. So Ethan and I are going to try to hold down the fort this week, but all love goes out to Grayson. Hey, buddy.
Miss you, dude. Love you.
Yeah, so we've got a fun one to talk about today. We just went through into the round of 16 after beating Portland Timbers in a wild 3-1 win. Before we get into that though, Ethan, do you want to talk about our historically less than ideal runs in knockout soccer?
We have a history of not exactly being the best when it gets into the knockout stages. Of course, we can think back to the playoffs last year where we got eliminated in the first round. The Open Cup, I believe we got knocked out in the round of 32. And it was the same last season with the Leagues Cup playing Club America in the round of 32. We got knocked out. So it is so refreshing to actually see us do well and advance in knockout soccer. I mean, I was shocked. I was slightly nervous going into this game, but it was great to see the boys play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I was nervous as well. Was really hoping to see the boys come out on all cylinders firing, and thank God that they did. It produced a great game that we're going to recap here, and couldn't have asked for anything better, honestly, than a 3-1 win. Yeah, let's get into it. Ethan, will you please give us our lineups for this match?
Nothing would make me happier, Jacob. Today, or in this game, we went out in a 4-2-3-1. Roman Berkey, our captain, is back. He was kind of a game day decision because he's still going through those back spasms, but of course, our Iron Man was going for this knockout round. From left to right across the back, we had Jaden Reed picking up another start, Kyle Hebert in the center back role with Josh Yarrow, and Thomas Totland at the right back position. In the two holding midfield roles, Chris Durkin and Edu Lovin, who absolutely balled out this match. What a performance. From left to right, Novki Thoresen, Cedric Toykert, and Marcel Hartel were our attacking mids. What a trio that turned out to be. And Simon Betcher leading the line once again. Of course, we had some pretty important substitutions in this match, as Kyle Hebert did exit the game early with a knock, it looked like. But with that being said, JGR, Jake Goodwood Wright, gets to go in at center back. We've been interested in what kind of role he's going to play this season, and he picked up well for Kyle Hebert at center back. We did see Indiana Vasilev come on for Novki Thoresen in the 72nd minute, which, wow, how refreshing. And the final sub, John Klein, coming on for Cedric Toykert in the 90th minute. This was we debated about this lineup a little bit, didn't we, Jacob?
Yeah, we did. We had some different opinions last week, and then actually heading into the match, some of us changed our ideas. And if you guys follow us on Instagram, link will be in the description. We did post some of our predicted 11s. And as far as what we've got available, this is definitely one of our stronger 11s that we could have produced. And I also thought all the subs that came on played key roles and were the correct decisions by Hackworth.
Totally agreed. Totally agreed.
Do we want to get into the action?
I am so excited to talk about it, Jacob. You want to kick us off?
Fuck yeah, let's do it. I've got the first 30, so buckle up, folks. The action gets started extremely early in the first minute, as a matter of fact. STL wins a corner within the first 40 seconds of the game. Like I stated earlier, all cylinders firing. Now, interestingly enough, Marcel Hartel is the one standing over the corner, not Eduloan, even though he was right there. But Hartel crosses it in. Kyle Hebert is the first to meet it, who nods it front post to Simon Becker, who laces a shot that hits the post. That's not it though, because the ball stays in play. Becker was pressing the defender. The defender was forced into a bad clearance. The ball was then picked up by Edu Lowen, who tried to cross it in low, but then it got blocked. After the block, it bounced right back to Edu, who rips a shot that goes right across the face of the goal and out for a goal kick. Starting a game off hot like that, that was crazy. What'd you
What a
see?
Yeah, what a sequence. I think it really set the tone for the game and kind of the franticness very early on. And I think it was kind of just a foreshadowing into who would be very involved in this game.
I agree. I agree. We're going to jump to the ninth minute. Zuparic, the center back for Portland, fizzes a long ball on a rope to Mosquera. Mosquera to Moreno. Moreno to Felipe Mora, who shot. For a man of his quality, it's begging for better technique, but it was found safely into Roman Berkey's hands. Not really a crazy attack by them, but definitely still dealing with that back post bomber, as Mr. Views has said a couple of times. After that, we're going to jump to the 24th minute where STL has a throw in. Reed throws it into Edu. Edu back to Reed. Reed back to Edu. Edu dribbles himself into three defenders, pulling away defenders from
So good.
Hartel. Edu is able to find Hartel. Hartel turns, finds Thorson at the top of the box. Thorson has a clean first touch, lays it off to Durkin. And Durkin does everything right here, wraps his foot around the ball. It's curling to that back post, and it curls, 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 and it bangs off of the post again. That same post, second time it's come up big for Portland, and it wouldn't be the last. We're going to jump to the 27th minute, another STL corner, another STL set piece. This time it gets delivered by Edu all the way to the back post to Joshua Yara, who's got a free header, and he hits it just wide of that same far back post. Man, crazy start to this game, and we are not done. Again, Zuparic plays a long ball out to Moreno this time. Moreno to Mora, who lays it off to Mosquera, who rips a shot. The shot takes a deflection on its way in, and the quick feet, quick reactions, and strong hands from Roman Berkey blocks the shot, covers it up. Crazy first 30 minutes for me to cover. Ethan, does it pick it up or does it slow down in the next 30 minutes?
Jacob, we are just getting started. I cannot wait to take us through the second 30 minutes. I will kick us off in the 38th minute when Jaden Reed does what Jaden Reed does. He takes a space up that left-hand side of the field and serves in a delectable ball for a butt-naked Novki Thorson to run onto. But Crepo makes a really good save diving to that far post. Next, on the other side of the second half, Thomas Totland serves in a deep early cross that catches the Portland defenders running backwards. He overhits it a little bit, misses Simon Betcher, but it does find Marcel Hartel, who serves it to the back post. Again, Novki Thorson rising for the header. Unfortunately, misses wide. No worries, though. The chances are coming. One did find its way for Portland, though. In the 48th minute, Evander, their all-star, served a delightful chip that needed some cheese. Felipe Mora was not able to finish past Roman Berkey on this chance. However, Mosquera keeps the chance alive, takes a really good attacking touch up that right-hand side of the field, and serves it to the back post. Jonathan Rodriguez this time is totally unmarked. Unfortunately, the chance goes begging after his volley chance hits the ground early and bounces over the crossbar. A dangerous, dangerous chance, though. Finally, in the 50th minute, the deadlock is broken. Hartel cut to the defense with some silky footwork and a fortunate deflected shot, but Toykert handles it perfectly, sets him up for the half volley, and he puts it away. 1-0 St. Louis City from Cedric Toykert. Now, Jacob, I have a tough question for you, all right? Who do you think gets more credit on that goal? Toykert or Hartel?
More credit. I'm gonna leave it 50-50 here. Give both the boys equal credit. The chance created by Hartel was amazing. I've been really, really excited watching his dribbling abilities and getting himself into those dangerous areas. And then Twykert's ability to just be in the right spot, pick up that deflection, calmly bring it down. He takes a touch, then it kind of goes off of his thigh, and then he was able to lace into the back corner. It's a great goal by two of our most important signings so far this season. So short answer, 50-50, both deserve the credit.
Totally agree. Maybe even a little bit of a trick question there for you. However, only 3 minutes later, Evander would take a Portland corner that does go long, but eventually falls to Claudio Bravo, who takes no hesitation and rifles this ball into the top right corner off a venomous left footed shot, curling away from Roman Berkey. What a finish from Claudio Bravo. Definitely not the kind of finish you would expect from a left back. However, we keep moving forward. Jacob, you mind taking us through these next 15 minutes?
Yeah, so the flow of the game really slows down between 61 and 75. Actually, there's really only one chance for me to cover here, but that doesn't slow down going afterwards. Anyways, in the 67th minute, Portland is on a fast break. Ball finds Jonathan Rodriguez, who cuts in on his right foot. He tries to hit this like low curling shot to that back post, the same back post that's been giving STL trouble all game, and it goes just wide for a goal kick. But that's not before worrying both Roman Berkey and recently subbed on JGR. But yeah, like I said, that's the last of the action from my 15 minutes. It's just getting good though. Ethan, bring us home.
Here is the highly anticipated conclusion to the game. At 1-1, entering the 82nd minute, Toiker nearly brings us ahead, but the ball gets palmed out for an STLSC corner kick. This is when it gets interesting. As you mentioned, Jacob, Hartel lines up for the corner kick. Levin stays close by. Now, this would lead to some Scandinavian tiki-taka between Hartel, Levin, and Totland. The ball finds its way back to Levin on the top of the box, and he concludes this move with a chip ball that catches the entire stadium nearly off guard. There was one person ready for that pass, though, Marcel Hartel. He turns expertly to find the ball on his right foot and puts the ball away. 2-1, St. Louis City in the 82nd minute. Unreal stuff, guys. But we're not even finished. In the 86th minute, Simon says, goal. Instead of conceding a worldie right after scoring, Simon produces one of his own. Jacob, what was your reaction to this goal, man?
I was freaking out, man. All of my neighbors can attest to it. My fiance can attest to it. I was screaming, I was clapping. My dogs thought I was going to war with how excited I was.
Oh, yeah.
A a magical finish by Simon Becker, who was really, really dangerous all game. I was really glad to see him get on the score sheet once again. Well-deserved goal, and honestly, probably one of the best finishes he'll ever have in his career. Hats off to Simon Becker.
No doubt a striker's goal. Just throw your foot at it, put it toward the goal, and see what happens. And in this instance, he is rewarded. You love to see it. The game's not quite over after a few more frantic minutes, and we nearly conceded in the 92nd minute after another open man once again fails to find the back of the net for Portland while being totally unmarked. Frankly, we were bailed out by Portland's poor finishing in this match. But like I said, after a few more frantic minutes of Portland clawing back, the final whistle eventually went, and St. Louis City advances into the round of 16 in the League's Cup. Oh my goodness. What a result, Jacob. What a result.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Very good job, by the way, in recapping all those goals. I'm excited the second time around as I was the first time around. But we advanced in a knockout stage of tournament soccer. STL is going into the round of the 16. There are only 15 other teams that are in this stage with us. We are in the top whatever 15 out of however many teams percentages that's in this tournament. That's a crazy stat, and it feels really good seeing really good run of form from our favorite team.
No kidding. Yeah. At City Park as well to put together a victory, which maybe comprehensive isn't quite the right adjective, but a victory nonetheless that sees us advance and into a familiar opponent, no less.
Yeah, a convincing scoreline, but not necessarily convincing on the field. Before we do get into our points of this game, though, I think it's fair to point out, I mentioned him earlier, STL City Views. He's been a guest on this podcast before. He gave me the information that there were only 10,000 tickets sold for this match, which there's a lot of things that go into that. There's, short notice,
Yep.
right? Played on a Saturday. I know the Cardinals were playing away, so it's not like there was a lot of other athletics to battle with at home. And
Yeah.
then also like we only had one supporters group come back out. So shout out Santos.
Yep. Big shout out to STL Santos.
They did get a shout out in the post match presser, which I thought was really cool and really for lack of a better term, woke by Hackworth. Um, and they did make a difference. Like the chant sounded better, but also like the stadium looked really empty. And
Yeah.
for an empty stadium, for if we only had 10,000, we were missing about 12,000 fans that could have seen an amazing game. It just really sucks. And I really want the supporter section and STL to solve their issues with um, playing in this tournament and not having played in US Open Cup because we need to start selling out games again. The games look better with a full stadium.
I agree, Jacob, and it is one of those games that I really hope does put the league on notice. St. Louis City was not the only club with an empty stadium. I've seen pictures of the New England oh my God, the New England Stadium, which was pretty much empty. Inter Miami Stadium looked very sad. It truly makes me nervous for the post Messi MLS era.
Yeah,
And as it relates to St. Louis City, I back the supporter groups for their boycott, but
yep.
like you, I also cannot wait for City Park to return to its glory that we know it should be. And I'm excited for the actual league to get back to the MLS. I can't wait for the guys to just play in front of a City Park that we know it can be.
Yeah, with our new signings producing the way they are, with half the stadium being full, it's going to be a real wake up call to hear the roar of the crowd when they are scoring these banger goals in front of a sold out St. Louis crowd. Um, but anyways, do we want to get into our points?
I would love to, sir. Let's do it. I'm going to kick us off first, Jacob, because I kind of talked a little bit about my point while going through the game recap. St. Louis City has a really nasty habit of conceding goals right after we score a goal. We saw it in this game. We've seen it against Inter Miami and a lot earlier, especially early on in the season when Carnell was still the manager. It has since kind of changed since Hackworth has come in. Instead of it being 5 to 10 minutes before we concede after scoring, it's like 15 to 20. So I will say that this is a point I'm making that's already improving its trajectory. But my suggestion is that I think we should switch into a more defensive formation after we score a goal. I think going into a 4-1-4-1, even a 5-3-2 for a little bit could be really beneficial to us just locking down those really precious vulnerable minutes after you score when emotions are still high and you're still trying to level yourself out. And so seeing it again in the Leagues Cup, fortunately, we were able to claw our way back into this and not just with one goal, with two. But I'm worried that this is going to be a theme that we continue seeing, such as being very vulnerable on the counterattack. And that is, for once, the actual solution that I can pitch to St. Louis City because we know John Ackworth listens. So, hey, John, if you don't mind, just a little more defensive after we score. No,
I think that is a solution. I'm going to take a different route to your
please.
solution. And this is going to be a shout out to our first year ever playing club soccer, Doug Bambini. What's up? Um, we were kicking this team's butt really bad. They didn't deserve to be on the field with us. No shade or anything. We were the better team. And what he had said to us at halftime was, don't take your foot off their throat and keep going. And I
Yep.
think that if you look at when we conceded after scoring and then our run of play after we scored our second goal, there were very two different mindsets going into it. We took our foot off the gas after conceding the first goal
Yep.
and conceded a lot of possession and then eventually got scored on, as opposed to the second one. We left the game open and running up and down the field, and we were still begging those chances, and eventually we got that third goal. So my solution is actually pick up the pace. You've scored that first goal, you know it can happen. Put your foot on the gas, keep going. Instead of conceding possession, take the ball back, keep the ball for a little bit, be in their end for as long as you can, because it's really, really hard to score from 80 yards out, especially with Roman Berkey
No
between the
lie.
sticks. So I think both are good solutions. I would just prefer to see us really put the knife to the throat.
The yin and yang of soccer right
Yeah,
there on display, everyone. A
yeah.
little offense versus defense for you as well. You can see a number eight's a vision versus a center back.
Yeah. Don't ever let us coach the same team. We won't ever agree on tactics.
Those poor kids. Well, I would love to hear your point for this match, good sir.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. Edu had himself a game, and he is my point this week. He had a night and day difference performance from the last game that we had seen. He is our difference maker. I understand we've got these new signings, and on the score sheet, they technically look like the difference maker, but the eye test for Edu Lovin and the results of the game really lie within his performances. When we were missing him early in the season because of the stuff with his wife and her having a tumor in the brain, you could tell our team wasn't clicking on all cylinders. In the last game in which we tied Juarez and then lost on penalties, Edu didn't have himself a great game, but I really put, and he won man of the match, but he is my man of the match for this game for all the things I'm about to talk about. He had a 9.0 out of 10 rating, and the things that went into that rating, he had played all 90 minutes. He had 2 assists, 2 shots. None were technically on target, but both were asking the question. He created 4 chances, 2 of those resulting in goals, and 2 of them resulting in his assists. He had an 84% passing accuracy, which is
Ooh.
insane. 84. That's a B. That's a solid B performance in passing the ball. Those are his stats. The eye test, though, the only way I could phrase it is he looked like a lion on the prowl.
Totally agree. The conviction, the responsibility that he's kind of taken on, and it seems like he's wearing as a badge of honor in this Portland game, where is it almost did look like a burden against Juarez.
I agree. He was extremely physical all night in challenges with the ball at his feet. He was using his big frame, his strong body to keep the ball and win it back. He was always wanting the ball. He was finding himself in those spaces, running towards players who were at the time on the ball, asking for the ball. And then when he had the ball at his feet, he was making really good decisions. Not all of them resulted in
Yeah.
great runs of play, but his decision making was A plus. Um, like you had said, I think he has grown into that on-field leader that we were begging to have early in the season. We had called out, newly transferred Tim Parker to take that role. He's no longer there. A couple of other big names aren't on the field anymore with Klaus being injured. All these other guys that we had talked about, and Edu is really stepping up into that role and making his voice and his play heard. I think Hack said it best in the post-game presser that when Edu is cooking, our team is a force to be reckoned with.
Oh yeah.
He earned himself a man of the match, like I said, on the stat sheet and through the eye test. Absolutely our best player on the field. Ethan, what did you see from Edu in this match that we haven't seen recently?
For me, it was, as you alluded to, that decision making, that no hesitation. This is what's going to happen, and this is what I'm going to do to influence the play. I think I most saw that on the corner kick goal that led to a corner where he picks up the ball. He has been removed from set pieces. Marcel Hartel is our set piece taker right now. That's a reality, but he's still involved. He keeps himself close by and just creates a goal out of almost nothing. So I think that is a perfect example of how influential he can be on a game, especially in the attacking third. And that's not even to mention, like you talked about, his defensive work rate as well. I think he and Chris Durkin can perfectly complement each other on the defensive end of the ball, as Chris Durkin being a winner and Lovin turning that ball win into attack. And that was just perfectly executed last night. Lovin playing in form makes this a totally different team.
Well said. Well said. Um, like we talked about earlier, Grayson is not on the show with us this week, but City earned 3 points, and we usually do 3 points. So Ethan and I are going to cover a third point together. For this third point, we picked the rhythm and flow of the match and how it played a role in our victory tonight. Ethan, start us off.
So we know that St. Louis City really plays into kind of a chaotic style of play. We've seen this since day one. This has been our style. The Gegenpress kind of allows for that with the high pressing, and it almost does allow for some errors in play. And this season, St. Louis City has kind of played into their strengths in that front. But like early on, we did see goals coming from the high press, like against Kansas City. But now we're starting to see a lot more goals come from build up or almost individual moments of attacking play. And so it seems like our style of play has, I don't want to say changed, but has been tweaked or adjusted to not only accommodate our newcomers, but accommodate John Hackworth's style of play. Jacob, what do you see specifically from this game that was different from other St. Louis City matches?
I think in this one specifically, and it's really telling in our own breakdowns of the action that happened there. There were lots of, not lots, there were equal high points of action as well as low points of action. We have
Mm,
spans of 10 to 15 minutes where our team slows down, they recalibrate, they catch their breath, and then we turn it back up again. As opposed to in the past, it was if we don't have the ball, full sprint, full tilt towards every person. And teams have noticed that, and they in prepping for us, work on those quick transitions, quick
yep,
passes, finding defender to midfield to attack really quickly. Like in the FC Dallas game, we got carved up in 4 passes.
yep,
Versus in this game, other than conceding quickly after we had scored, we're slowing down at key moments and choosing our moments to press really, really well. And we
agreed.
saw it in this one, really specifically with uh, not really pressing. Like if you want to divide the field into
Mm,
5 sections, there's their goal, the section before midfield, section before our goal, and then our goal. And we were pressing really high in their their fifth section of the goal
yep,
in the actual midfield area. And then when we were on defense, we were packing the box. We had 10 men behind the ball on defense. And we were cutting out those 2/5 of the sections of field not to press in. And I thought that that adjustment to our own style of play is what really brought this win and victory home for us.
yeah, well said, Jacob. On the other side of things, I just want to make the comment that I think, and we've talked about this, the more our new attackers come into play together, the more they're going to gel, the better the chemistry is going to get on the field. And I think that this game, we're seeing just glimpses of that still. It still isn't perfect, but it's definitely not as disjointed as I mentioned last week. The attack was firing on all cylinders, and Jacob, you pointed it out. I give all that credit to Edu. He's orchestrating right
Yep.
from further back on the field. He's not a center back. He's hanging right above them, orchestrating, and then getting our attack into that section of the field right before their goal.
Yeah. Well, this week we're going to do it a bit differently because we have covered Portland's kits a lot this season. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kit Clash.
Ding 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 ding.
This week we are going to be covering Portland's throwback kit because Ethan and I both rate this kit. I think Adidas did a really, really good job with this design. It is the maroon-ish color with the fun green and yellow collar with a really, really cool take on their home badge. To keep it short and sweet, I'm going to give this a solid 8.0 rating out of 10. I like this. I like this jersey a lot. It sucks we haven't got to see it on field against us,
Agreed.
but I'll take a W every day of the week.
I'm right there with you, Jacob. This kit just goes hard. The colors are perfect. I mean, we are definitely biased towards any shade of red on the soccer field, but that just goes crazy, and it's so different from what Portland normally provides with those deep greens or the green accents. So, yeah, I'm all about this kit. It actually they are one of the clubs who deserved a throwback in my opinion. They're an actual OG club. So for me, I'm gonna go just a little bit higher. This is an 8.5 for me. I
Okay.
really like this kit, and if Jacob, you were to say I'm buying this for the drip to wear around Portland, I couldn't even hate really.
I'm not. I'm
I know
not.
you're too loyal, but just if you ever did, if it got
Yeah.
gifted to you, I wouldn't hate.
Yeah, fun little story. So after we won the game, I'd had a couple of beverages while watching the game because that's the only real way to watch St. Louis play if you're over 21. Anyways, and I was excited and I went outside and there are a couple Portland fans on my block. Obviously, I live in Portland and I was outside letting the dogs out and I was chanting STL, STL, all that shit. We
Let
follow,
him have.
right? Doing all the chants, and one of my neighbors, like caddy corner from our backyard, yelled for me to shut up. So I was like, haters gonna hate. But
Get him. Get him.
that concludes story time. We are gonna move into our preview of the next match. Familiar foe. We have played them before. They are a really good side. I am alluding to Club America. A little bit of a preview of them. Club America had an automatic bye into the round of 32 because they won both the Liga MX Clausura and the Liga MX Apertura a couple episodes ago when I broke it down. They've got two halves of a season.
Good breakdown, by the way.
I appreciate it. Go check out that video. In their last Liga MX game, they actually beat FC Juarez 2-1, who we just drew with 1-1. So really good side, having really good form. In their downtime going into the round of 32 during the group stage, they had two friendlies in which they played Chelsea and lost 3-0, and they beat Aston Villa 1-0. And then in their round of 32 match, they beat Atlas 2-1. So a team kind of hot right now, a very good team. They've got a couple of really fun players. One that sticks out for me is Alejandro Zendejas, the USA, the
Ooh,
Mexican turned USA forward.
very good player.
He so far doesn't have a goal on the season, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him sub on for this match. They do have Henry Martin, who is a Mexican forward who currently has 4 goals. He's kind of their hot hand that they're feeding, and then just a bunch of really really solid Mexican internationals. It's going to be a fun game. Ethan, what's your prediction for this one?
Prediction is pretty tough, Jacob, because like you alluded to, Club America is a really historic Mexican team, and I have no doubt that their support is going to be out in full. This is going to be St. Louis City's first away match in
Mm-hmm.
the League's Cup. We're actually going to be playing this game in Dignity Health Sports Park out in LA. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a big time home match for Club America. Southern California has an insanely large Mexican population, and especially as it relates to soccer. That is a hub for, I would say, the country, especially in the early 2000s. So they're going to have massive support out there in LA. With that being said, I think that St. Louis City is a team currently benefiting from their run in the League's Cup. And after playing them to a 4-0 loss last year in Leagues Cup, I am certain that this game is going to go differently. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 victory from St. Louis City in regular time. And I'm going to pick Simon Betcher as my goal scorer just because he is on such a great run of form. I don't see him breaking out of the starting 11 anytime soon. So that's who I'm going to pick. Who do you got, Jacob?
It's a tough one. You said it. It's an away match. This team's had our number in the past. I wouldn't be upset if our tournament run ended here. Then
Same,
again, I
same.
do think it's going to continue, not nearly in a decisive 3-2 victory that you are foreshadowing. I'm going to steal what I did last week and go 1-1, and then we take this one in penalties. I think
Okay.
Cedric Toyshirt is getting himself up to a full 90, so he'll play the full 90, be available to take a penalty.
That would be cool.
Hartel's going to learn from his penalty woes. Edu's going to be out there to take a penalty. I think we've got a solid 5 dudes to take penalties and Roman Berkey in between the sticks.
It does sound good.
My my in-game goal scorer, you took Betcher. I'm gonna take Marcel Hartel to get on the score sheet as my goal scorer.
I like that a lot. I
Yeah,
like that a lot. I think you will too.
yeah. Should be a fun game. I'm excited to watch it. That takes place on Tuesday, the 13th,
Yep.
or does it take place on the 14th?
Yep. Yep. I believe you.
It takes place earlier in this week.
Whenever it's happening, we will be there. We will be watching, cheering on St. Louis City. Hopefully, with all of our city boy king queens and in betweens.
Yeah,
Jacob, is that all we got for this episode?
it is. I will take us to the outro. Before the outro though, we're gonna do this until the sale's over because it is a limited time sale. We are selling merch. We got merch. We've
Go
got
buy it.
hella merch. Link is in the
Support the
bio.
pod.
Shout out to Beth. Beth Beach, I think her name is. She's our first sale. Shout out to her. She bought a couple things, so can't wait to see somebody rocking our stuff. Also, shout out to the giveaway winner. His stuff is on the way, and shout out to Mr. Views. He's about to have some stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah, go into the bio. or go into the description, buy some merch. With all that being said, though, you know the deal. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like, comment. If you're listening on Spotify, follow us, rate 5 stars, and most importantly, don't forget to tell your mother you love her. This has been City Boys. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
STL. STL.